Hello, hello, hello. Happy Wednesday already. Wednesday, July 19th. Tesla Netflix earnings today. Good morning, Patrick. Congratulations, Connor, on your second daughter. Don't know why you're tuning in though, if you just had a second child, but I hope everybody is well and healthy and everything turns out fantastic. If you can't stick around, I understand, but thank you for tuning in. Hey, Chris, everybody do hit the like. I like your little rock the mic drop and that's so fun. Who people in the background, thank you also for tuning in. Remember, the rally does continue. The Nasdaq reconnected with the 87.5, so that rule has been completed. Will it keep on chugging on? Retail just piling into stocks like no tomorrow. Carvana debt restructuring rescheduled their earnings debt restructuring and is up huge again. It's already been up, but on another short squeeze. That's going to get so interesting. People who are buying into this are just going to get absolutely obliterated in the next few months. You say Coco still rules. Well, there you go, Richard. Good morning. So we had the mortgage and building permits out. Housing starts actually a pretty steep drop from prior, -8 versus 15.7, but nothing that's going to chill this market out. And the actual starts are lower than prior. We really have the EIA numbers coming out at 9:30 Central. So if you're a crude trader, watch for that. And that's it. Very light day. Remember, tomorrow is jobless claims, Philly, Fed index, consumer board leading index. So tomorrow has a fair amount of more data. And OpEx Friday. There's no real, besides your rig counts, there's no real releases on Friday, but it's OpEx Friday. Will we target 4,600 in the S&P? So far, Apple pausing, Microsoft, which was up huge yesterday, the for a mild potential growth company, the PE trading in the upper 30s is getting. This market's really reminding me of the end of the .com. It really, the trading is just like that, and again, it can keep going until it doesn't. So you stick with the trend until the trend ends. Verizon, AT&T up this morning. So what else we have? We have Netflix. We have Tesla up this morning, and we have Netflix and Tesla reporting after hours, as I said before. Groups, consumer cyclical, real estate, consumer defensive leading. The only thing pulling back so far is really basic materials. We had Goldman Sachs also missing this morning. It was a beat miss or a miss beat, but it was pretty much flat to slightly down. Fed watch, remember, next Wednesday. So under 7 days. Officially, what do we have? Oh, well, 7 days, 4 hours. Oh, today is Wednesday. So I thought today was Thursday again. I already said. All right. 7 days, 4 hours. 99.8. You can't get any more baked in than that. So the rate hike fully priced in, and then that's it. We'll have to see if that moves after the meeting, but so far, one rate hike fully priced in. The only cut is next March at this point. Fear and greed, still an extreme greed. Schiller PE ratio, 31.75, nosebleed territory, but it's going to keep going until it doesn't. We are in positive gamma. So you get some dealer selling besides the 0-day options, which are still a huge percentage of what's traded every day. Some days over 50%. So there is some dealer selling into the rallies, but we have another big batch of potential calls kicking in at 4,600. So 4,600 just based off of where we sit right now. And the support now is about 4,550. With a pretty decent call wall at 45.50. Mentioned Goldman Sachs. That was pretty much flat. There wasn't much else. Halliburton this morning, ASML. But the big thing is Tesla and Netflix. Tesla looks like it's going to reconnect with the shorter term 87.5 today. Netflix was up big yesterday. Retail's buying into earnings reports. So hopefully those earnings reports will keep things going. Good morning, Anissa. Good morning, PMG. So that's where that sits. So we could have some market moving. I mean, Netflix and Tesla will be market moving potentially after the close today. On the S&P, through that 45.75 at the upper end of the channel, next key target is, I'm watching 4,600 intraday. We're 45.91. Would not be surprised to see us tag 4,600 at least. Then my key target is about 46.25 to about 46.45. 46.45 takes it to the 87.5 rule. Key support is back at 46.50 and some minor support coming in right around. So 46.50 is the first level. And minor support into the open would be 45.80. So that's where, and you could go a little ahead of 45.50. You could probably get about 45.55, 45.57 as a major support area, not even back to that 45.50. So that's where it sits. Cycles at the top, getting to overbought still. And weekly's turning back up. Weekly not yet overbought. So that's where it sits. And as I was talking about, NASDAQ reconnecting with the 87.5. So the 87.5 rule has been completed. Doesn't mean the rally has to stop, but it's hit the probabilities when it closed back above the 62.5. So right now, that's where it sits. Again, it's hard to get harmonics because we're not even getting pausing price action. So 16,108 is the next minor level. And then, see, this gets interesting. And then it's about 16.3. 16.3. Right around there. All right. Major support is back at 15,700. Minor support coming in at 15,950. Good morning, Jacob. Good morning, Martinez. So that's where it stands. I'm watching the 4-hour rotation zone, just I've talked about the last few days, because we've been dipping in and rotating up. We had the potential double that turned into a triple, and we broke out yesterday. And there's no topping pattern yet. Yeah, that's why we have this. It's not even a proper, it's a very minor double. So, but that's really at the bottom or the top of the 4-hour rotation zone. So that's why I'm paying attention to that. That's the only minor top thing right now. And if you want to know, it's not even taking it back to the prior breakout level. So if that did trigger, yeah, could we see a backfill to 15,865 potentially? Yeah, lower probability since it's against the rotation zone, but that's the only thing potential. That could get taken out by the open. The Dow finally breaking out through this. Remember, I think it was last week where I said if it got through these key selling resistance levels, there was going to be a lot of stop covering. Yesterday. So pushing the rally higher to the next harmonic, 35,159. Next level is 35,294. And then back to the 87.5 would be 35,807. So that's what you're looking at there. The major support is now back at I'm actually watching these highs that it took out yesterday first, 34.9, and then it would be 34,725. Where do we sit then? The Russell. Remember, this reconnected with the minor 87.5, but that's not the major. If you want to know where the major is, because I know people are wondering, the major, which is a long way off, is all the way up here. But your next target area that I would utilize would be 2050 on a continued rally. Minor is going to be the minor level is going to be about 2000, 2008, and then the majors 2050. The key support level is coming back at 1965 right now. Hey, John. VIX still. It's going to retest the 13s today probably if the rally continues. Be fascinating if it breaks below that. This is absolutely the key major lows were down at 1155. Rally continues. Are we going to keep seeing volatility getting sold? And the volatility getting sold and rotated into stocks seems to be the plan right now. DAX hasn't been able to get much of a move on. Has a little minor. Very close. Potential double top. So we'll be keeping an eye on that. Other than that, next target still 16,445. The notes still has a minor potential double, but nothing. This isn't a major resistance area. It's pretty much, unless this double were to trigger, it's there's not a great pattern to the long side yet. The 10-2s came down close to that first target. Does not invalidate the double bottom yet that came up to the first target. This did not invalidate it yet, and finding a little bounce there. Dollar index so far has confirmed the double, but not yet triggered the double, and back below the confirmation point. And remember, against the rotation zone, so lower probability, but it would have to close above this peak of 99.73.3 to trigger it. I'm just going to jump to the yen real quick because it has that similar pattern. And it's, again, kissing the trend line goodbye. So far it's confirmed but not triggered, and lower probability against the daily rotation zone. So that's the only short-term potential bullish thing, but again, it is not triggered into the close yet. Crude, where's crude? Crude coming back to rotation zone, rotating back up. As I said, watching for that retest of the 200. If we break above the 200, the minor level would be about 78.21 to 78.65. The more substantial level is coming back to 78.65 to 79.04. And if it does continue the rally, it would be back above the 200 for the first time. I'm watching for a close if we get the close above the 200, because the last little close above the 200 was all the way August. That was only sustained for one day. The last little rally above the 200 that really broke out was all the way back in December 21. So keeping an eye on that closely. Gold finished the double targets. Gold done. Now, in order for a continuation move, my level is 1995. It's got to get a close. So it could be, if you were looking for something bigger, could you be trailing on a final position? Yeah. It needs follow through above 1995 on a closing basis to watch for from my aspect, a continuation push higher. But that double did complete with the highest probability targets. Your next thing you'd want, remember, between this roughly 1993 and 2016 is the potential rollover zone. Then you'd be watching for a close above 2016. Close above 2016, the 87.5 rule kicks in. So that's personally my analysis of gold and how it would be structured from any bullish case since it hit the targets. What else? Euro, still pausing here. If we break back below the 200, I'm just watching for a possible pullback to 111. Pound. The pound had the little minor double. Even if you went with the aggressive targets, it's completed. So that's about it. It is moving into the daily clear path move. So on a continued move lower, about 128.50 is 128. Yeah, 128.50 is a major support area. But this is another time if you wanted to go, and this is it even broke below the little minor support on the 4 hour, and it has another advanced clear path down here. So you can really see where the key support is for a continued pullback. Bitcoin still not doing nothing. I know there's some requests for other stocks. We'll get to those in a second. The spiders stalling out 453.88, roughly closing there. 456.40. We're at 454.90, 456.40, then 459.35. Key support would be back at the gap fill in the prior harmonic, which would be 454.19 to 453.88. And then the major support coming in at 451.50. That's pretty easy analysis on there, and I'd still be using the targets. You can see the Qs, 386.02. They closed at 385.74 after spiking through that little target. Next area higher is to reconnect with the 87.5, which technically is 389.40. So that's your major target area higher. All right. Anything with today with the gap up would be the gap fill to 385.74. And then your major support level coming in at 382.80. Tesla, again, gap up today, reconnecting with the 87.5, and that's the minor 87.5. The next key levels is 300 to 375, and then about 314 area. If you want to extend out the major stuff, it's the 297.24 on a closing basis. That would get interesting with earnings coming out today. And then your next major harmonic target is 336.27. There is no little double. The major support is coming back down at 275. And then you have major support at 240. And you see the rotation zone on the weekly is all the way even below that 275. It's down at 261. So on any earnings miss, that would be the key support area. All right, NVIDIA, which just keeps marching higher, does have a minor. It could get taken out on the open on a higher move, but it does have this very minor lower probability double top. So that's the only bearish sign. You wanted, what'd you want? Palantir. Yesterday, intraday pullback to key breakout support level. Holding just below that. Next target still 1857. And then you have 1857 and then about 1928. Let's just see where it is on the all-time harmonics. Since we seem to have retail pouring in everything, yeah, and I'd really be watching this right in this area. Right in this area for a more significant top. You also have a breakdown zone. Do not ignore this breakdown zone right here, where it's testing right now. So it gets through there, 1857, and then about 1927. Your major support is coming in at the top of the daily rotation zone, 1686. Microsoft, again, adding it. This was just insane, and I talked about P/E ratio 3750 again. But breaking above new all-time highs, hitting the I did the reverse harmonics from the key low back in November of last year to the high from November of 21. That gave me 366.70, which the high coming in at 366.78. Next target, next major target, should the insanity continue, 383.73. Major support back at 350. Oh, and then we got Netflix today. Netflix with the power move. 469.06. We went through yesterday. Next target is 469.48, and then the major 62.5 is 499.13. So those are the next key targets higher. The major support level, first one is back at 432, and then you have the flat 200 at 410. So if there were some disaster miss, those would be my two gap down levels I'd be watching for. With that, will I do wall? Sure, John. Western Alliance Bank Corp, which missed. Missed on earnings, beat on revenue. So far, slight gap down. What I'd be watching for here is this level, 41 to 41.13. That is your key support, which you broke out from yesterday. So if you roll back over below that, you don't want to see anything below 38. 38 would be not good in the short term. Okay? So that's the first warning sign if it can't sustain this 41 level. If it can, you get a pullback and then it rallies up and shrugs off the miss on earnings but beat on revenue. The next major targets would still be this gap fill from prior at 49.34. That's the only next major target higher. Hey, Christoph, thanks for still joining late. You could catch it on the replay. So that's where we sit. So I hope everyone has a fantastic trading day. And again, even if you don't trade Tesla or Netflix and you just trade any of the financial futures, I would definitely keep an eye on what they do after the close, because it's going to get interesting with some after the cash close price action. With that, I will talk to everyone later. Bye for now.